Oh, welcome back to the J22 report. I am your host, Johnnie Market. You all know that drill. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And just a little disclaimer, nothing should be construed as financial investment advice. Just my opinions, thoughts on the markets, thoughts on what's going on. And I just wanted to do a little disclaimer. Well, I already said that. So just remember, I'm not a financial advisor, not financial advice. And let's get into this stuff. I'm going to go look at the economic data. And if you actually look at it, don't worry, I'll share my screen. I was going to do a video, but I decided to not do that and post, so I'm going to do this one. And let's go in to the economic data. If you actually look at this, I didn't know if I did a video Thursday or not. So Thursday, if you look at it, core inflation, 3.1%. Inflation rate month over month above the consensus 4%. This is why I think the Fed's rate cuts are going to be limited. Maybe they do a jumbo rate cut. They might just do a jumbo rate cut and then that's it. Or they might do a 25 basis rate point and they'll say, oh, we're gonna leave it up to the data. And then they might, inside their heads, they might be like, yeah, we're gonna cut in December. We're just not gonna tell them. And you look at consumer sentiment, 55.4, 58, 57 consensus was the forecast. You can tell people don't feel good about the economic situation. So, economy, they can't even hide it. The economy's horrible. We have stagflation. Remember, inflation month over month, 4%. And then consumer sentiment, horrible economy. So, let's go into that. And then the other thing I want to get into is I'm going to take a little bit of a victory lap when I said the 2% mortgage rate's a joke, that they're going to eventually have to say uncle. We've already, previous videos I showed how they're already refinancing was the other thing. But I also said another reason that is their mortgage rates are not their only cost. Homeowner insurance costs just hit a new high, rising 70% since late 2019. So insurance premiums hit record highs. Home buyers are increasingly concerned about their ability to afford that. So they can't afford even with the 2% mortgage rates. They're paying almost $2,370 a year. That's up 70%. One of the fastest growing costs of home ownership, outpacing home prices, mortgage rates, and property taxes. And most are expecting the problem to get worse. And it's only going to get better if home prices are allowed to fall. So, and look at this. This is one of the hidden costs of home ownership, alongside property taxes, maintenance expenses, and homeowners associations. So you look at this. I was looking at this. Of course, they're going to try to blame it on climate change. Go figure. Yeah, climate hoax or whatever. So Louisiana, Florida, parts of Texas. And look at this. Now, high repair costs and an uptick of roof pummeling sent insurance premiums spiking, even in parts of the country far from the coast. So this is not just a Florida, Texas, and California problem, because they said far from the coast. Texas has an ocean, so to me it's a coast. It's not a coastal city, meaning like East Coast or West Coast. So yeah, there you go. You got homeownership cost really, really taking a bite. Eventually, no one's going to be buying, and prices are going to have to come down hard. When, we don't know. I don't think it'll be this year, but maybe next year. In the near future, I think so. Yeah, this is a problem. So I'm gonna say fear and gold. I mean, a lot of people are calling for a correction. If you look at this, extreme greed in the gold market. JM Bullion 92. If you look at it, it's just kept going. Let's look at April when that was the last correction. I mean, did we have, oh, they don't have it. But you look at it previous week, but previous month was neutral. So there could be a sell off or a correction. In terms of the stock market, if you look at this is the CNN Fear and Greed Index. It's neutral. So I don't expect any big sell off in the stock market. I'd actually like to see, but part of it is the really bad data. And I think a lot of people, this is more of in the economy, but I do see more and more people the market, the reason why I think the market has gone up, like it's gone up this week from my knowledge, let's just fact check myself. Let's do the S&P, we'll do 5 day, and it's up, yeah, 90 points on the 5 day. So yeah, it's been up. And I think a lot of people are expecting really big rate cuts, and we'll probably be due for a sell-off just because I think when those rate cuts don't come to fruition, and then the Fed, I think, will eventually cave. And here it is, the case for September rate cut. Pretty straightforward. So let's see if they talk about a jumbo rate cut. Oh, they don't really say anything. I didn't really, but that, as you can see, all this is just a noise. Price case for the rate cut. Let's look at news. Of course, look at the state of crypto. How's that not? But let's see what they say. We'll just do stock market. Let's see. Look what I would say right now they're expecting a jumbo rate cut. But we'll see. Like I could be wrong. I think if they do massive rate cut, I think that's going to help gold out more than anything. And then last thing, this is one thing I agree. U.S. job numbers are still overstated despite recent downward revisions. And this pointed out a good thing. It's like, on the other hand, ADP data shows an average monthly drop of 33,300 jobs during this last 3 months. So I think all jobs this calendar year should be negative. It's obvious that it's horrible. I'm gonna try to go to Google AI. I think it's Gemini. And search by Google AI. I'm gonna see what AI, because at least, Google Gemini. I'm gonna ask it a question. Does Wall Street expect a jumbo cut of 50? So you can see me in September. AI is also very stupid, so they might do September of 2025. So I'm being very specific. Welcome to Gemini, whatever the hell it's. So, but a jumbo rate cut of is considered outside possibility rather than a wide set expectation. So let's see what Gemini says. Just want to go, how many rate cuts does Wall Street expect for the year 2025? Let's see what they say. So 2 to 3 cuts right here, according to Google AI, is what they're expecting. And so I don't think there'll be three. I think there'll be two probably. And I think they might do a rate cut like, yeah, we're going to cut 25, but it doesn't mean we're going to cut again this year. We're gonna look at the data. Inflation's still a problem. We can't cut too much. And I think if they do cut like that, the stock market will sell off, and I think the Fed will cave again. I think Powell's just he. I think, in my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, investment advice, or anything. I think Powell knows inflation's going to be a really big problem, and he doesn't want to be blamed for it. But he knows who, and he knows whoever Trump appoints is going to do the jumbo rate cuts. So I think he's just trying to keep the markets propped up, but inflation somewhat contained before he leaves, and that's what I think. So. Stock market, I mean, I don't see any big sell off recently, but if my scenario happens, I think there'll be some sort of sell off, but not a crash. So, just my opinion, not investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Read disclaimers below. And the other thing I want to do, my in laws came from Poland, and they told me something interesting about electric cars, and I just wanted to share that with you. And that is, they were telling me how everyone in Europe buys not just Poland, but if they could buy electric cars, they buy from China. That they're like 20 times better than Tesla. Tell me 20 times better than, anything. And I was saying to you guys on this channel, we're getting our butts kicked in technology, and my boots on the ground, which is my in-laws, uh, in Europe, they're saying what I've been saying. The same thing is that the electric cars, the AI, and everything is just 20 times better. And the reason why is, these businesses never invested in Americans. They always imported labor, uh, and it's the business class. And if we ever want to compete with the world again, we have to have deflation. We have to have these, we have stupid people running our corporate and business class, and it's really destroying this country. And propping them up with asset price inflation does no good. Let them fail. So that's just my thing. Uh, anyway, lastly, I mean, I don't know if I was talking about this, but I was actually pretty sad about the whole Charlie Kirk thing. I never listened to him. I thought of him as like a normie conservative. I'm not a liberal. I'm definitely not a left wing, but I'm definitely not quote unquote conservative or libertarian. I don't talk too much about politics. Very, my views are very complex. I'm not ideological. I never had the sheltered life that allows people to be ideological. But uh, anyway, I just think it's a very sad thing that's happened to him. All type of violence is sad, political or non-political. They're all sad, so they're not something that people should be celebrating. But last thing I wanted to say is that the one thing everyone talks about, you know, two children lost a father, which is very sad, and a wife lost a husband. I didn't know this, but I looked this up, and I saw that I think his parents are alive. And as someone who's lost a child myself, losing a child is the hardest. Outliving your child is the hardest thing to do. I've lost a father. I've lost a child. I've never lost. Well, Charlie was an only child, so I looked that up. Now, granted, I didn't lose a parent at that young of an age, so it's different. But and I've never lost a spouse, so I'm sure losing your spouse is very difficult. But I think the greatest fear is outliving your children. You don't want to do that. And so I just want to, say that in terms of, because that's the one thing I can actually add is that, there's probably that I think his parents, are alive. I'll ask, you never know. I've lost. one of my parents is not alive, so uh, yeah, this is the other thing. I just say, according to Google AI, I asked it, and they said based on information provided, of course, they can't just like sort of put this. Both parents are still alive, and they're grandson. Anyway, very sad. No one speaks about how parents lost a child. So I just wanted to bring that up. So anyway, remember, nothing should be construed as financial investment advice. Uh, Stay safe. Stay, you know, I guess I disavow, well, I don't guess, I disavow violence. Don't be violent. And remember, nothing should be construed as financial investment advice. These are just my opinions. So, sort of sad to have that end on that. But anyway, I wish you the best and speak to you later. And thanks for listening.